Today's episode is different. We're not diagnosing anyone, we're not debating emotional chaos, and for once, I'm not opening up with a story that causes the tables to be turned and for Bryan to play my therapist. Today, the episode is where everything shifts for all of us, slowly, intentionally, and hopefully without any midlife crises on the air. So, welcome to what comes next today on Off the Couch. Welcome to Off the Couch with Dr. Greg, where psychology meets everyday life. I'm Dr. Greg Cason, psychologist, here with producer Bryan Gomez.
Happy Monday, you guys. Oh, Tuesday. Sorry.
Oh, Tuesday. Well, whatever the day. No, I think it comes out on a Monday, so that's perfect. And hello, we have Tony Sweet on the board. Hi, Tony.
Hello, hello.
And actually, today's a special episode. We are 100 episodes in. We realize something that we've changed, that the conversations have changed, and the world somehow has changed faster than either of us was anticipating. Just things are going all around us. So we started as two guys trying to make a sense of human behavior has become something bigger. We wanted to take psychology and make it accessible for everyone. We wanted to add humor. That's why we often have some special guests who add a lot of humor. And we wanted to allow our own messy honesty to collide into something that made a magic soup. But we realized now we need to pivot, and the reinvention era begins. But to help us with that, we want to talk about we want to talk about the very special guest, our most frequent guest. Joining us today is someone who knows reinvention better than anyone. She's traveled the world. She's worked every stage from smoke-filled comedy clubs to packed arenas.
Don't oversell me, Greg.
This is the truth, though. This is true stuff. And somehow still has the emotional range to keep us honest. So please welcome our friend, my good friend, our show's good friend, truth teller, our most frequent guest, Monique Marvez.
Yay, me. I feel like if I had a punch card, like back in the day at TCBY or something, you guys would owe me a free frozen yogurt.
We get you a free or a sub.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that was 12.
Yeah.
Had to eat 12 of those. I know those well. And in fact, it leads me to a comment. There was a time, not as long ago as I would like to say, that I was so broke, Greg, in pursuit of this dream that is currently coming true, that when I ate 12 Subway sandwiches and I had the card that enabled me to have a free sandwich, I didn't use it immediately because that represented money. That represented that I knew that if there was a hitch in my giddy up of getting paid or how long it would take the check to clear, that I had a sandwich. That's how hard and broke and challenging pursuing the dream that has come true many times in many different ways. But, I play the long game. You can add about 4 zeros in the middle of that. And right now, my dream, my vision of my life, of my ability to be of service is coming true at another level. So our conversations have shifted dramatically over the past few weeks
Yes.
because of the very visible, obvious. I don't even, when people say, you've gained, 16,000 Instagram followers in less than 2 months. How did you do that? Who did you pay? How was it done? I have done zero, zero. I've been witness protection comedian. I am so bad. And yet, I have found it's amazing grace. I once was lost, but now I'm found. And that is, I think, leading us into this conversation.
I think it is. I just want to kind of back up a little bit to say we didn't know each other before this. I've said before that I listened to you on KFI.
Mhm,
I had no idea who you were. I had no idea what you look like.
mhm.
I just enjoyed listening to you. I just
What
like
did you like? I'm curious. What did you like about me?
that at the time I didn't know that you were a comedian. I actually thought you were just someone who was very insightful
An air
and
talent.
who was very fun to listen to,
Thank
very
you.
good to listen to. And I had a picture in my head, I think, that wasn't you. It was
That's so
you
confident.
know, But
People mean
but nonetheless, I mean, actually, and I did not that I picture air talent as unattractive, but I was actually struck by how attractive you were.
well, thank you.
So, because, people always say she has a
Face for
thirst for
radio.
radio,
Yeah.
right? But that isn't the case with you. But we met on air. I mean, essentially, I met you in the hallway, and we started
The
2
lobby,
seconds later in a lobby and did a show,
July
and
1st.
that really started a friendship, which started a lot of things to happen. Started a big rock to roll down the hill and gather a lot of moss.
Here's what's interesting. Number one, I remember the day I met Arsenio Hall.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people don't remember because it's been a minute, to over 35 years when Arsenio Hall was so hot on TV.
He was so hot. What
He,
was this?
oh, people went crazy. That literally there was a Johnny Carson sketch called Carcinio where they did like a Johnny Carson sketch. It was very funny, and I loved him and admired him, still do. And when we're friends, and because I met him at Hermosa and I asked to take a picture with him. And I said, I'm also a comedian. I'm Monique Marvez. And he was like, oh, I listened to you on Sirius XM. I love he was a bully and effusive, amazing. And then he said to me, that's what you look like? I said, what did you think I look like? He said, I don't know, a short, fat Mexican or something.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were hot.
I mean, that's kind of I have to say, not that you have a not hot voice, it's just that radio, you just have a different
I get
expectation.
it.
And I've always been surprised by the voices, the people behind the voices up
Well,
there.
the reason I'm telling that story is because I use the word you want, intuitive, tapped in, connected. I knew when I saw your picture, when our mutual friend who's a publicist said, "Hey, would you like to be on this guy's show?" I went to your website to research you, and I saw your picture and I saw what you were about and I read the little blurb, and I just know things. I said, "This is going to go very, very well." And then I walked in the lobby and met you and Bryan, and I always jokingly say that if you guys would have had tails, they would have been wagging because you were so welcoming, and the show, that first show, you know, it just went. And the
Really
fact that you
exciting,
were
yeah.
two guys that had started with a mission and an agenda, and your generosity, I think I spoke the vast majority of that first show. And poor Bryan, I thought you guys were a little bit like Shields and Yarnell, or if you want to be more recent,
Okay, that
Penn and
that
Teller. No,
mime
that was for
act,
you, that was
that
for
it
you.
was a mime act that actually had a they had like a variety show,
Yes, they,
and
they
it
were
was
great.
crazy. Yeah, they were great, but it's so
And they
funny.
were always guests on like Sonny and Cher or the captain and Tennille, but and even Daryl
Right.
Dragon never spoke, the captain.
Oh, no, he
But the
rarely spoke,
very rare.
although I did see he and Tony Tennille having an argument in a restaurant I worked at
Oh
once
my
at
goodness.
Disneyland.
Oh, well, the point I'm making is
I
that,
shouldn't say
yeah, we heard it.
that I
But
loved it. Yeah. I
I'd love to
worship
hear
them.
Daryl Dragon's voice. But
Yeah,
the point I'm
he's a
making
nice
is
guy, actually.
the generosity of spirit of both of you, of me being not just a frequent guest, but I kind of hijack things because that's what I do. So what I'm going to explain is a little bit about me, and then we're going to get back to you
Okay.
because now I'm a grown up and I know how it works. I call it the Mo Zone, and I am a catalyst. It's kind of like Candyman, 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 or Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. When people put me in their movie, when people put me in their life, they're at a crossroads. There's no one that becomes close to me stays the same. No one, not one person that I have loved or that loves me, and it's usually mutual because I can't think of a single case where someone's loved me and I didn't love them back, or vice versa. When someone comes close, I am a human hurricane. My whole life, people have said, "You're a force of nature." And they didn't say it necessarily as a compliment. And I didn't take it necessarily as a compliment. But now, as I've gotten older, not only do I take it as a compliment, I take it as a mission, as a purpose, as a destiny, that people bring me into their movie and I bring people into my movie at crossroads and turning points where they want me to come in like a force of nature and blow away and flood and disappear and vanish and tornado out whatever isn't working for them anymore. And in doing so, because it's all an illusion, I do it for myself. It reminds me, oh, yeah, that behavior Chuck's doing, I used to do that like 12 minutes ago. It didn't work for me. I'm so glad I can help Chuck stop doing it. That's
Mhm.
what I do.
You do. And I have to say, for me, in so many ways you've done that. You have to say, make me question myself too. What is my purpose? I often think in many ways my job has been to calm things down. Well,
And we're perfect.
then maybe that is it.
No, I'm a hurricane. I am a hurricane of a human being, and I used to try not to be.
And you know what? Hurricanes don't bother me. I've actually been in real
Me
hurricanes.
too.
Well, I mean, I can say when I was way out to sea on a cruise ship and we had to go through a hurricane. I think it was a three, well,
I'm
level
sure you
three
were around the
hurricane.
edge.
It was scary. Oh, we had to go all the way out. We were avoiding a hurricane, but the hurricane shifted our
It
way.
was looking for you.
So then we had to go through it at the shortest point we could, and we had 22-foot swells. I mean, I think on the seventh floor, and we had waves crashing against our room. I mean,
That's awesome.
the ship
I'd have
was
been scared,
listing.
not gonna lie.
We couldn't even stand up the whole time. You had to crawl, like if you needed to use the restroom or something.
And you didn't use your
It
pants?
was more than 20. Well, people got very sick. Two people died. I mean, it was actually a fairly severe
Yeah,
cruise.
it's arduous, yes.
But, that one hurricane, I'll have to say, I'm glad that was over, but I've been through ones on land, not quite as bad. But, it's I don't think that hurricanes are a bad thing. They're just, an effect of nature. But I do have to say, I don't experience you as a hurricane. You may very well be a hurricane, but maybe I get to sit in the eye of the storm, so it's okay.
You're in the outer winds.
I see.
You're in the outer winds. And maybe you are in the eye of the storm. Maybe you are absolutely at the center of it. And in fact, it's interesting because as quiet and generous as Brian is, I'd be curious. Brian, would you say that's an accurate assessment of me?
Yes. No, no, for sure. And not in a bad way. Like you said, I've never seen you like anything negative or
No.
anything. I just feel like you have a strong presence, and it's that thing that people can't look away from, where
Yeah, thank you.
you see a star and you're like, that's that not that people aren't special, but you know when someone is special and you just see it radiate from them, the way you talk, the way you tell stories, the way you interact with people around you. Like you can tell there's something special about you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that my gift, my what I want to do, everybody keeps talking, and in fact, I have a purse that I bought this year to remind me. I bought it on clearance and I got a discount on the ship.
It's a Karl Lagerfeld with
Yes,
a
but it's snakes. So with the
snakes. Oh, the
special
year of the
edition year of
snake.
the snake.
Ah,
And
yeah.
I'm not that person. I don't do trendy. I do thrift store. But I bought that purse. A, I liked it. And B, as a reminder, because I got it early in the year last year, that this was my year to shed. Now, the reality is I hate snakes. But this year I made peace with the concept of the snake. I really I don't it's so interesting. Why do people hate snakes? We do. It's built in us. You're a psychologist. You could probably look this up. I believe that the two things that human beings inherently are afraid of are snakes and heights. I read that somewhere.
We actually wild animals and heights, yes.
Yeah,
And the dark, by the way, is another one. Believe it or not,
I'm
that's
not.
actually
Yeah.
I know it doesn't scare me, but that is and closed in spaces. These are natural inborn fears. Some people have more than other people. Like some people aren't the least bit afraid of heights. I'm absolutely not one of those people. And
I'm not a fan.
like snakes don't bother me, but I do understand that people are quite afraid of them, and that's for good reason because they could actually cause them harm, certain snakes especially. But yeah, it's any kind like that, any kind of wild animal
Anyway,
that
okay.
hurt you.
Right.
Yes.
So I made peace with the idea of snakes this year because of shedding. And because in a weird way, what's the story of the Garden of Eden? I think that kind of started sort of a biblical hatred of the snake.
Mm,
And when they say, the snake talked her into doing something,
mhm.
I think our snake is our shadow self, or it's the voices of others. My father told me, and I didn't listen until recently with all of my beingness. My father said, the mistakes you make on your own, you will get over and you'll learn. The things that stick in your craw and torment you is when you knew better, when you listened to someone else and you went against yourself and you did that thing that
Absolutely.
someone else
Yeah.
talked you into. And he said, when you go against yourself, that's the thing you don't get over. And and he used to tell me, trust the veracity of your own mind. He said, Monique, even if you think I'm wrong, do what you think is right. I'll get over it. And I think that this year I shed any fear I had of just trusting myself and eradicating any voices or influences that are not supporting what I know to be true. Under the guise of I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, or I don't want to be misunderstood, or all of that, the turkey gobble in our head of, I'm done with that. That's what I shed in 2025. I'm going to do what I know to be right in my beingness and trust the veracity of my own mind, of my own knowingness. It's bigger than my mind. It's my spirit. There's a knowingness within all of us that I this year decided was going to drive the car 100%. Everything else is going in the back seat, not even the passenger seat.
That's why this episode, we didn't expect to have you didn't expect to come on. I didn't expect to have you on, and
No,
the reason is because we've come to the 100th episode, and all of a sudden I'm facing a few cliffs, and I've faced certain deaths in my life. I mean, real, actual ones. My sister,
well,
my brother,
it's been a year.
and then my brother-in-law. This, but that was, but my sister and brother, especially,
Peers,
were
people
just,
that are
yeah. It was just very hard, those experiences, but nonetheless, that kinda made me start to look at things differently. I mean, if I was very much experiencing them, and now I think a different phase is happening, a different era that I'm having to experience a death within myself of, like, what is important to me and what do I want going forward, and although we had already talked about doing a project, and we've been working on a project, and we'll talk about that, that started to become hotter for me because I'm like, this is where I want to focus my energy and time, and that we're gonna make something together, not just we, you and me, but we, you, me, Brian,
of
and then
course.
also there's Brian's gonna be involved, and, there's, even another person who's gonna have involvement, and maybe who knows from there. But, uh, just to tease that a little bit, we'll come back to it. I wanna talk about our own show here with the vision of Off the Couch with Dr. Greg. It was a show that we wanted to make psychology for everybody. Because when I would watch these shows, I would either watch these namby-pamby advice shows, which are wildly popular, but I would think, "Oh my god, that person's giving bad advice that's not based on, research. We know that not to be true. It sounds good." I would hear that kind of stuff, and it would really bother me. And then I would also know that so much good knowledge was getting passed over. Like, I read all these things all the time that are just absolutely fascinating. I can't tell you the rich amount of knowledge that's constantly being generated every week by all these universities and all these people. So I wanted to make it everyday life. I wanted to make it research backed, therapy inspired. And really we've done a lot of great things, but after 100 episodes, I think we started to pivot. We feel a need for a pivot to start to tighten things. And it's not that I wanna step back, it's that I wanna step up. I wanna actually help us to have even more of an impact.
May I make a suggestion in real
Yes.
time?
Yes.
Because I didn't know what your show was about. I've just been a guest. And then I've gotten to know you.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever heard of the book You're a Badass by Jen Sincero?
No.
Okay. You know?
No.
Okay. Well, it's a super mega bestseller.
Yeah, well, they somehow passed me by too.
No worries. And here's what I'm gonna tell you about it. In 1,000,000 years, I would have never purchased it for myself. It's not the kind of book I read, nor do I care about
No,
it.
me neither.
But I have a
Fine.
girlfriend who's not woo-woo. She's not she's a secular and I can't even think of the right word to use. Dry hump comes to mind, but that's mean. Um, but she doesn't lean into anything outside of her own knowingness, what the materialism of the world of if it can't be seen or touched or, that's that paradigm. I said, okay. So she said, I read this book and I loved it and it changed a lot of things for me. And I'm going to send you a copy for your birthday. And I was like, well, if I'm not going to say her name now, but I said, dry hump. I said, I said, if so and so got something out of this self-help book, because that's what it is ultimately, I'm going to read it. Well, 3 things came from it, and I'm telling you this for a reason.
Okay.
Number 1, this woman, Jen Sincero, without the benefit of any formal education or from what I can see, any kind of high IQ, she's very good at marketing, read a bunch of self-help books, The
Mhm.
Secret, The Science of Getting Rich. She read a bunch of books, distilled them through her own mind, wrote them in shorthand, spit them out in the parlance of our day, and added her own spin.
Mhm.
And guess what? It was great. It was great. See, I'm a positive person. You thought I was going to go in another direction, but what I got from You're a Badass is that people can read these books, whether it's Think and Grow Rich, which I love, whether it's The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace Waddles, which I adore. Whatever these books are, they're there.
Mhm.
What I will tell you, Greg Cason, PhD,
Mhm.
bestie friend, Disney date, is that nobody wants to hear a dry hump study. People want to hear what has filtered through your brilliant mind, sensitive heart, huge spirit, generosity, life experience that sets you apart, being involved in long-term relationships with challenging people, whether it's friends or your family or now me, whatever it is. I used to rail with my program director at KFI because I said, nobody cares about the news. They can get it on their phone. People come to KFI for our take, our spin, our vision, our vibe. And whatever you do next on Off the Couch with Bryan, I'm inviting you to make it you. You're the magic, you're the money, you're the thing. And you have a very hard time hearing that when I say it to you in person. So now I'm going to say it on camera in front of your
Oh.
fans, in front of Bryan, in front of whoever's listening. If anybody has watched multiple episodes of your show, it's not for the studies. It's for you.
Mhm.
And that's the reason why I'm excited about working with you is because I am going to continuously be a force of nature to blow away whatever fears and doubts and moldy leaves of you have in your mind of the fact that you're the magic. It's in your head.
Well, thank you. But thank you.
Just no buts.
I know
Just
no,
take it. Just take
the
the compliment,
putting
please.
my butt away,
Thank you.
covering up my butt,
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna say Brian definitely agrees with you.
I know he does.
Brian, is this not the conversation we've had 200 times?
Yeah, so it's nice to, for
Have an ally?
yeah, to be seen. But I feel like we did have moments where we were trying so hard to figure out what would catch that we weren't, just being us, like you said. And I feel like it took a while for us to finally get the flow. And even when you would come on, it helps, because we both push Greg to be out of his comfort,
Oh my
perfect
god.
little
My
mode.
I feel like this is all me. It's all me.
Well,
But nonetheless,
yeah, thank you. And my fans, when we did the last Friends with Privileges, I have done, just so you know, I have 13,000 subs on YouTube. I've gained 3,100 subs, posting one show a month. One, there's my finger, one. Um, one show a month, which is an hour-long show, which is Friends with Privilege, with zero promotion outside of the bubble of my fans. Zero. We've cut zero clips of Friends with Privilege, nothing other than anybody that watched it live and then went back to revisit it. And that being said, 3 of the shows are over 1,000. So think about 1,000 people watching for 60 minutes.
Mhm.
I mean, the algorithm, the ability, and my fans comment, and the last show, they said, "Dr. Greg was so loose and comfortable. He's finally getting it." Because and they mean that as a compliment
Oh my god.
because they realize that
The autopsy.
they're vicious. Oh, I mean, no, they don't. They will tell me they like my lipstick color. My fans are very engaged, as you know.
Her fans are so delightfully devoted. I love watching you interact with your fans, but I love watching the reflection of you in their eyes. It's actually incredible to watch.
Well, and that everything I've done, and I wish I used to wish I was different. I'm gonna take it back like you putting your butt away. I don't wish anything. The bottom line is I'm missing parts. I'm like IKEA furniture when you put it together and there's parts on the instructions that didn't go in and you're scared,
Always,
like, "Are these
always.
drawers gonna collapse?" I am learning social media as a divine experiment, as the ability to have divinity come into your life in a way that you don't expect it. So rather than be and I've had to change, it's this thing that I shed. Rather than be apprehensive about the speed and exposure of which everything moves and try to have some sort of control over some, I don't know, image, some understanding of how I want people to perceive me, and then just be the thing. Just be the thing. Be the thing you want people to see. And if you're that thing all the time, there is no fourth wall anymore. If I am 100% me all day, every day, there's no chance anything's ever going to get posted or shown or shared that I'm not going to like
Mm,
because it's me.
mm.
So if I'm not in the mood to be a nice person, to be the person I know myself to be, then I stay in my apartment.
It really struck me something just now in what you said, and this sounds so funny, but I was in a reality show, God, how many years now? 12 years ago, 13, 12 years ago. And I it got to a point, reality shows, I try to tell people are not reality.
Well, they're the fakest thing
There's
going. They're
so
so
much
staged.
there's so much that's scripted and so much
All of it
that's and then you
manipulated.
in every way you try to keep it as real as possible, and I think we managed in several ways, which was really great, but some things were a little bit here and there. What was so great, and I think the essence of me came through on that show. This was LA Shrinks on Bravo, and one thing about that show that really taught me is people saw me how they saw me, and I got a lot of flack for things that I didn't even do. Like, people would just say things. And I developed a thick skin at that point. But then when you're doing your own podcast, all of a sudden I used to always think, "Oh, it's the show. It's they're reacting to the show. I'm just a cog in the machine. Like, it's just the show." So I had a thick skin, but I think I had a false defense in that the show is just doing what it's doing, and people are reacting to that.
Mhm,
Here, when we talk, and when we talk, especially on Friends with Privileges, that's the podcast we're doing together,
mhm,
is that it's very real and in the moment.
mhm.
And that the fear inside of me is becoming exposed on a whole different level.
What are you afraid of?
Um, Maybe I'm afraid people won't like me for
Y
who I am.
Okay, well, that begs the question, do you like you?
I do really actually like me.
Then
Actually
you should be fine.
I like spending time with me.
I gotta be honest
I
with you,
enjoy myself.
I think you're amazing. I've always liked me pretty well for the most part,
Uh-huh.
but this year has been the best year of my life.
Yeah.
It's been the best year of my life, and not
It's
because I gained social media presence or went viral or got booked into theaters. These are a byproduct of the fact that January the 8th, as the fires were burning, my landlord, I was renting from an owner in a very nice condo, said, "This is my best chance of getting my money. I'm going to sell the unit you're in," that I was very comfortable and happy in. And rather than be afraid, within a week of the new year, I texted him back. I said, "Guess what? I want you to sell it for cat. I want a cash buyer that wants it right away, and asking price, and I want you to have to tell me to GTFO. I want that for you. I want that for
this
you."
is not hyperbole. I was there in real time. This is
Yes,
what happened.
yes. I mean, literally, I was at JFK, and my neighbors were sending me pictures of the fire from the roof of our building and saying, "Don't come home, stay in New York." While I'm looking at that, I'm getting a text from my owner. I can't blame the guy. He's a smart man. He figures my best chance. And that being said, that set off a cascade.
Uh-huh.
I was in a car accident. My car was totaled.
Yeah.
I haven't owned a car since May 12th. Guess what? Don't miss it. And the more I let go of any fears that the universe is not only conspiring on my behalf, but is going to do a way better job than me, the better things go.
Yeah, and in fact, this is not BS because I've witnessed this up close.
You're my
So,
friend.
yeah, but so I mean, I just want to underline that that is the truth. That you're not like
You
you're
were the
not
first person I
mm,
called after my car
after
tried to
your
kill
car
me.
accident.
I'm kidding, but it was an
Kind
electric
of.
car, kind of, sort of. It was an electric car that I loved.
There's a reason I named my first electric car Hal
Yeah.
from
How?
from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
My car, when I first got it, did this weird thing where it would just surge forward
Yeah.
wildly, but it would do it on the open highway or nobody in front of me or,
Yeah.
and it troubled me.
Yeah.
But, I was like, okay, I guess I'll just get used to it. So I would hover my foot on the brake
Mm.
so that I knew when it did a weird thing if I needed to tap the brake, right? I adjusted myself to the electric car. Well, Monday, May 12th, coming home from hot yoga and stop and go traffic on Sunset Boulevard in front of the Palladium, a livery car stopped in front of me to let someone out in the middle of Sunset. And my car, while I was kind of in neutral, kind of in stop and go, lurched forward
Mhm.
and rear-ended. I mean, I tapped the brake, I stepped on it and
Mhm.
screamed,
Mhm.
and I called you within moments, and I
Mhm.
said, "Hey, did your car ever do this?"
Mhm.
And you said, "Yeah, all the time." And I
Mhm.
know there's been a recall and blah, blah, blah. And once I knew that
It
I'd
was
done.
even a little different than that because I remember you called me and told me what happened. I said, "I absolutely believe it."
Yes,
That
yes,
was the
yes,
exact word
yes.
because I was like, I knew that myself has experienced this, and I kept encountering people who would say, "Well, that must have been you. It must have been you must have put your foot on the wrong thing. It must have been this or that."
Yep,
And everyone who's experienced this has to go through this with the people around them.
correct. And the reason I'm telling this is because, again, I trusted myself.
Yeah.
I trusted you, and then I called the car company. I'd rather not say because they've been good to me, but I called the car company and I left a message with their honchos, and I called the guy that sold me the car. But before I spoke to my insurance agent the next day, I was locked and loaded with this is what happened, believe it or not. And and I stood up for myself. The point of the story is the old me would have been afraid of, the man, whatever that is, my insurance agent, the things outside of me that I have always thought kind of run the game. And now it's like, no, it's inside of me. I run the game. I make decisions. I decide how I'm going to react to this. And it's incredible that, again, going back to I'm not afraid to move. I'm going to end up in a better place. I did. I'm going to enjoy being free of a car because this is a busy year and I'm very booked. It's been great. I never have to worry about an Uber. I drop off a car, I pick up a car. There's always one waiting. I don't have to wash it. This year has been a year of me challenging what I thought were the norms or the conventions or what I was afraid of or what I had to have to be a normal person, you know? People say, "You don't have a car?" No. "You live in LA and you don't own a car?"
Brian's laughing because he's this in the same position.
Yeah,
I feel like we all had our own year,
I won't
whatever it
travel.
is, the year, what
of
for each
something.
was of something, you know? But I used to be like, "Oh, wouldn't it be so nice to just be one of those people that walked everywhere in town?" And look at me now. But I've enjoyed having not having a car for almost a year, like you said, I was gonna say whenever I don't like to read. I hate reading as bad as that sounds, but there was a book that I got from Greg's bookshelf called Healing Spaces, and I love that book so much that I
Wow.
do. It was adventurous. The way I don't even know how to describe, but it was like it takes you on this journey and you are just I can visually see what they're talking
Let
about.
me explain the book. It's written by a physician, and it is a woman who really started to look at the impact in environment to how it affects mood, productivity, and all kinds of things. And she, in Healing Spaces, was looking at spaces that are especially helpful when it comes to health. And so she was taking research and really distilling it into more common language. And she's quite an interesting figure, and that really had a great deal of impact on Brian, which actually, I'm sorry,
Oh, no, no.
I just wanted to kind of say what the book was, but then that led you into a journey.
Yeah, because now in the future, I wanna have, like, a for-profit and a nonprofit business from that book itself, and then one of the places it talks about is a place in France, and I went to it last year, and it just talks about all these miracles that happen there.
What
So
Went to
place?
Lord.
Lords.
You went to Lord's?
Mhm. Yeah, and I was just like,
Were there people crawling towards it?
well, there are people in, like, wheelchairs,
Yeah,
beds. It was beautiful in a way that I didn't expect it to
it's a
be,
thing.
and I understood the health. I understood how the environment there, it's so small and surrounded by mountains and green, and there's this big, beautiful creek. It was just like out of a movie, you know?
They've made many movies about it, actually.
There is one that I saw that I need to watch because a lot of people do pilgrimages
It's
to
a big deal.
but
I was raised Catholic,
oh, so
so
you know
so
about
I'm very familiar with it.
We all were
we are.
in this room.
But the one thing I wanted to go there with intention, just not to just see what it was about, or I wanted to get something out of it. And the one thing that I had felt like the last 8, 9 years, I had lost myself, in life, just overall, and everything that I was doing and working and relationship, everything. And I wanted to find myself. I wanted so badly to come back to that me, the core me that I love, that people love, that just gravitate to me because I felt like I had lost it completely. And literally, like, a month or 2 after, my whole world kinda fell apart, and the whole time I knew it was because of that. Like, I knew that's what I had asked for. I all these things that in my head were falling apart were things being removed out of my life that I did not need. Things that were making me stressed, sad, unhappy, just all these things. It was like an ego death because I mean, Greg, you know me. The last few years, I lived like a little fairy tale. I didn't have to stress or worry about much of anything. So this was such a reality check, and
Was the fairy tale life yours, or was it an addendum to another life?
it was not mine for
Oh,
sure.
fair
That's
enough.
what I learned. It was so much that I learned that I was like, wow, this dream that people wish they had and always
Mhm.
are like, oh my God, that would be the life, is not the life or what truly makes people happy. So for me, losing everything has made me happier. I feel like I've come back to, like, me slowly throughout this entire year and have landed in, like, positions of work that I wanted to do and just didn't know how to get there. Even with you guys, all 3 of us working together, it's a whole thing that I'm like, "This was all meant to happen," you
Absolutely.
know? So I just wanted to share that because 'cause I'm like, we're all changing, and like you said, this year, I feel like we all shifted hardcore, like, something drastically happened in all of our
Absolutely.
lives.
And I can't help but think that, it's happened for the 3 of us in big ways. I'm sure it's happening with others too, and that's kind of why I wanted to focus this episode to kind of make this a marker for all of us who are going through changes, because all of us need to kind of honor each other's change, and this might be a time of change for so many people and
It
so many
absolutely
things,
is.
and that you had pointed out the year of the snake, and of course, the snake sheds its skin,
Yep.
and it's time for all of us to shed its skin
Well,
our
we've
skin.
got four weeks
Look younger.
left. Yeah, 4 weeks. I did some lasers. I got 4 weeks and 2 days till the end of the year, and I was as you know, I write every morning. You and I have talked
Mhm.
about this. And this morning, I was journaling that the coming year is the year of the horse. And what I wrote, specifically in my journal today was that this year I did shed. I did get teed up, lined up in alignment, with what I want. And I pictured a horse. There's a song by we talked about this by U2 called "Who's Gonna Ride Your Wild Horses,"
Mhm.
and the opening line of that song is, "You're dangerous 'cause you're honest."
Mm.
And it's a really great song. It's an older U2 song, and I thought about horses and wild horses and how they run in the movie The Misfits, which was my dad's favorite film with, Marilyn Monroe,
God, yes.
Clark Gable. Well,
Very beautiful film, wasn't it?
Arthur Miller wrote the
Yeah.
play specifically for her. Arthur Miller wrote the script, amazing playwright,
Mm.
in honor of Marilyn to make her it was a perfect script for
Mhm,
her.
mhm.
So Arthur Miller wrote the script, and all 3 of them died within not a very long time after the movie. Montgomery Clift, who was an amazing
Right.
actor,
Right.
Clark Gable, and Marilyn Monroe all died after making The Misfits. And I have it on DVD. I've had it on VHS. It was my father's favorite film, one of his favorite. And the reason I'm saying that is because the movie centers on wild Mustangs,
Mm.
horses. And I thought about this, horses are sexy. They're a sexy animal. When they run, their tails, they don't have a lot of bone in their tail, but their tail goes up and it goes, and or especially Arabians, and the way the mane goes and their sinews and their muscles are very visible. And I thought, I'm going to embody that. I'm going to run faster and harder. I'm going to sweat more. I'm going to build muscle. I'm going to be sexier. I'm going to be streamlined. And I thought about what the horse year was going to be in my life. And I'm very, very excited because it feels like we're all lining up from different places
Yes.
to land in the same spot from very different
It's
locations.
so interesting about the horse too, because to me it's strength, power, and movement.
Absolutely.
Like the horse can transport you, but the horse is also your friend. The horse is one with you.
Yeah, I've ridden horses
Yeah.
most of my life, and actually I watched those history shows on National Geographic,
Hmm.
and they talked about, when man has had like the invention of fire, the invention of the wheel, that man domesticating and deciding to ride horses was one of those monumental moments in human history
Wow.
that changed everything
Mhm.
because you could go so much faster and you could
Mhm.
pull things and you could domesticating and riding the horse was a game changer in the development of human beings, and I think that this year should be seen as a game changer in our development, that the horse should represent that that mobility, that picking up speed, that embracing everything that is fast and sexy and sweaty and wonderful.
So I wanted to talk about what we're doing together,
Okay.
Monique, and what Brian is going to be intimately involved
Of
with.
course.
Because people right now, I mean, we really are seeing that people are craving something different.
Mhm.
People are feeling very overwhelmed. We've had such a negative environment coming from the very top, so much ugliness and so much division and hatred. And that's I wondered somehow if that would become the model for people in the universe or in at least in our country. What I'm seeing is that people are reacting to that in a very positive way. I mean, some people are joining right in, that's true. But a lot of people are going, that's not what I want. I want some a more positive vision for things.
Well, I can tell you, on my show,
Yeah.
on whatever I've done on my own, whether it's stand up or going live every day at 3:30,
Yeah.
that my fans compliment me, and this was even back in the KFI days. I have a 30,000-foot view of the world, so when you say the ugliness coming from the top, that's not my top. My top is divine. My top has nothing to do with anything earthly, and I tell people everything is an answer to a prayer, you just have to remember what you prayed. So for me, I believe that the divisiveness we're witnessing in our country, which to some degree is contagious because we're a very important country and the way we go is the way a lot of the rest of the world goes.
Mhm.
Whether we want that responsibility or not, we are role models in some ways for a democratic way of thinking. So, what I see is that there is a time of revelation and then a time of reckoning, which is things are being revealed. It's not that people are more divided or more racist or more sexist or more homophobic. They're not more anything. They were there. We are just entering into a time where, evidently, as a species, we prayed to let these ills be revealed very clearly. I've been alive long enough to see, several women's movements, several
Mhm.
BLM, several.
Right.
And I feel like now, because of the revelation, the reckonings are actually happening, that things are getting, no pun intended, over the wall. Like we almost made it on a couple of occasions, but now we can't go back. You can't have an old world paradigm and new think with social media, even with and again, I'm not a political person. I guarantee you, I cash money that Putin did not think that 3 plus years later, the Ukraine would still be holding its middle
Oh,
finger up
no,
to them.
they thought it would be
It's
at
not even
most 3
possible.
days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I when I was a little girl in the '60s,
Mhm.
when Vietnam was raging, there was a poster that a lot of hippies had in regular and black light, which was defiance, and it was the picture of a giant eagle coming down on a little mouse, and the mouse had his middle finger up.
Mhm.
And it was I know it had to do with people that didn't wanna go to war. It had multiple meanings,
Mhm.
and the fact that it was an eagle, whatever. But I remember seeing that poster as a child and thinking, "That mouse has got it going on." You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that's what's going on now on a scale in the world, is that people are just like, "This is wrong. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how strong you are. This is wrong. What you're doing is not good for peoples." So I'm gonna, with my own voice, with my own middle finger, with my own social media account, with my own podcast, we have, like never before in history, the opportunity to elevate, educate, uplift, reveal, deal with, reckon with. The possibilities for positivity are endless, and that's where I put my attention. So that's what I see.
Good. Because I think this is the time. We've got to reckon with things, and we've got to move forward.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're all doing, and I feel like that's where Friends with Privilege is. If I were to just say where that fits in, it's because of all of this, because we do need to pivot and move forward. And
Yes.
Friends with Privileges, which is really your brainchild, they
Well, it's
you
ours.
well,
We ate a lot of breakfasts at Great Whites together. It's
ours
ours, yeah.
well, I mean, at least,
A lot of halloumi cheese.
but I thought this was a brilliant idea, and because of your humor, insight, brains, experience, everything, I feel like it's such a great place
And you're the I always say you're the hardware to my software, because you are very aware of current events.
Mhm.
You are very aware of day-to-day studies and life and relationships, and you are boots on the ground. So, Friends with Privileges would just be a variation of my KFI show, which was fine. But I don't want to do fine, and I don't want to do what I've done. I want to go next level, and I feel like we are very yin and yang that way, that you are a calming voice, but you also have a fire in you about justice and social
That's
justice
true. Yeah.
and society and civility. You have that in you, which I that's one of the parts I'm missing. And you care about people's day-to-day nuts and bolts,
I do.
tool chests and skill sets.
I do. I want everyone to have a better life.
I do.
Everyone, no matter who they are. And I believe if the people had better lives in general, and it's not just I'm trying to place all the responsibility on them. I'm not trying to say you need to fix your life in order to get better, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, but rather what I would
Some
say
people
is,
don't have boots.
yeah, what I would rather say is here are some tools or here's some help that I can do, but that isn't the only thing. I believe in, yes, I believe that we as a society need to move forward. We can only do so much at a time. I
Agreed.
can't give a two-word explanation to make everyone's problems go away. All I can do is help move the needle. My own 5% solution. As long as we continually move 5% in a positive direction, we can
Absolutely.
change everything.
Agreed.
So we just have a few more minutes, but I just wanted to say about Friends with Privileges, our chemistry, the cultural relevance, and really, I think this is the time. So we're going to be doing more shows more frequently,
Absolutely.
promoting them. Brian is going to be
Of
producing,
course.
working on them, and hopefully, we're going to start to be adding in listener
Well,
interactions
we're
as
gonna we're
well,
gonna treat it like like a real show,
like a real
meaning,
show.
interaction. That I'm not one of those throw enough and see what sticks persons. I create things in the invisible and get them exactly the way I want them, and then I pull them down to the visible.
Mhm.
So we I play the long game. We've been friends for a year and a half. We've been getting to know each other,
Mhm.
and we've really gotten to know each other's psychology, families, strengths, weaknesses, destinies, hope, dreams, and the go ahead.
No, you know my darkest stuff. I mean, I've actually called you during some pretty dark times, some very difficult. I could bring up tears right now just thinking of those moments. So I thank you for being there.
Well, of course, but that's the point.
Mhm.
Because when you said, "I don't have a two-word answer for to fix the world's ills," the reality is I do. And here it is, just love.
Yeah, okay.
Because
That I can sign on to, yes.
I looked up the word just, and there's a million definitions to just, but one of them is simply and exclusively of time, meaning it stands on its own. The word just, which is obviously part of justice or just being fair, but with no attachment or agenda, just simply and exclusively of time. If you can embrace your circumstance, whether it's carlessness, homelessness, and say, "This is where I've begun. I've got that going for me. I know what homelessness feels like. I know I don't like it. I know I want to change it. I'm better off than people that are not aware that they don't love being homeless." And I can say this because when I was on the radio in San Diego, I had two homeless guys that lived at the cruise ship terminal, and they used to listen to me on a transistor radio and they would ask people they wanted clean blankets and batteries, and they listened to the Monique and the Man show, and they would call in from the payphone across from the Holiday Inn in San Diego. This was, almost 20 years ago at this point, but we regularly interacted with two homeless guys, and rather than make assumptions about their lives, we would ask them. We would ask them. We would say, like, why, what,
Mhm.
how, and explain your circumstance. Because when you say the homeless, you've now objectified millions of people
Mhm.
as opposed to that guy
Mhm.
that calls me.
Mhm.
So the reason I'm saying that is because whoever you are, wherever you are, if you're within the sound of my voice, if you can find one thing in your life to love, even if it's just you're on the right side of the dirt, you're on the right side of the dirt and you can start fresh. You laughed yesterday because when I look at my watch,
Mhm.
if it's 9:23, I go
Mhm.
like this.
Mhm.
Every time
Snaps
I
twice.
snap twice
Mhm.
because I reinvent myself. My birthday's September 23rd, and I remind myself, and I'm glad it's 9:23 because I get to see it twice a day as opposed to some people's birthday would be like 1:15. So they get to see it in the afternoon, but maybe not in the middle of the night. But whenever I see 9:23, I go, let go of something. I make myself let go of a thought or a worry or something that I'm dragging. Reinvent yourself, let go of that. And I think that anybody in any circumstance can start to lift slowly if they can find one thing they love, even if it's just that they're still here.
Well, thank you, Monique. This has been incredible. Um, I could talk to you for hours, but I will
We're going
continue.
to.
We're going to.
That's what the show's gonna be. That's exactly what the show will be because you and I love each other.
Mhm.
So in real time, we're going to show people what a friendship is, what a collaboration is, what inclusiveness is, what is
Mm.
bringing other people into your vision. As you know, I have Katie, who I work with, like you work with Bryan. I gave her the title brand manager. She doesn't even know what that is yet. Neither one of us does, but we're going to figure it out together in real time.
I'll have to figure out a better title for you, Brian, but we will.
Yeah.
Um, I really thank you. Thank you for
Pleasure.
being our most frequent guest.
Thank-
Thank you for being who you are.
Likewise.
And thank you for the vision that you share with me that you're helping us to move forward with
Absolutely.
Friends with Privileges. Brian, I want to thank you for the last 100 episodes.
Yes.
I mean, oh my God, you were there from inception and you've done incredible work and it's been a long journey. And we had so many ups and downs and mishaps and technical issues and problems along the way. That
I'm sure we will too.
Oh yeah, well that's just the damn
Looks forward to them. They'll be funny. We'll have a blooper reel.
And also Tony Sweet out there in Neverland, on the board, thank you so much for all that you've done. You've really been there, and I could not have done this without you. As you know, when I called, Tony Sweet, or when we were talking first, I'm like, "I cannot do this without someone like him," and he was incredible from moment one.
Great.
So, I wanted to say thank you for all of that. I'm incredibly grateful for all of it. And I don't know that I think this was a very important thing that we've done, and we're going to retool it and make it even better and sleeker, faster, stronger.
Yep.
You know,
Like a
we're
horse.
going to make it like a $6 million man, but yes, into a horse. So we're going to
Bionic horse.
the bionic horse. Remember the bionic dog? I don't know. Why was that only one season long? That should have just,
Bionic dog?
yeah,
Because they should have made it a horse.
yeah, there you go.
And more seasons.
But thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on Off the Couch. If you saw yourself in any of today's patterns, take a breath. You're not broken, you're just human. And insight is the first step, but action's what moves the needle. Remember, we're all in our reinvention era right now.
Oh, yeah.
So embrace it. It may not be easy. It certainly hasn't been easy for me. I know it hasn't been easy for you, Monique.
Nope. But it's rewarding.
And I know it hasn't been easy for Brian. We've all been forced to deal with some things this year that none of us would have liked otherwise, but yes, we had to just face them, and we're going to take and move forward. But remember, we do this with social support. We do this with friends like you, friends like you, Brian. And I was saying friends like you, Monique. And that's why I think that the name Friends with Privileges really has a special meaning, that we're going to all be friends together, not only
Amen.
us, but also not only the people in this room, but the people on air, that everyone is going to be able to share in that experience. So if you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. I made a handout called Reinventing Yourself. I don't know if I actually called it that, but that's what it is. It's a handout that if you want to sit at home and really look at how you can reinvent yourself, it has a ton of questions on it. It'll take maybe about 20 minutes to do, but it just helps you to do a self-inventory of yourself.
I'm going to do it.
All right. It's on our YouTube. I'll give you a copy.
Hey.
It's on our youtube.com/Dr. Greg. Go to that youtube.com/Dr. Greg. Look in the show notes for this show, and then it'll say handout. You can click on it, and it will give you the handout. Don't forget to rate, review, and follow us Off the Couch with Dr. Greg on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And until next time, I want to say for all of us, be present, be flexible, and be kind.